Tibetan Dorjee Chona Lai Janju Bando Dani Gyatsen Dhargye Chujur Yibe Sonam Gyan Rola Benje Sanje Robarai Tibetan Dorjee Chona Lai Janju Bando Dani Gyatsen Dhargye Chujur Yibe Sonam Gyan Rola Benje Sanje Robarai Tibetan Dorjee Chona Lai Janju Bando Dani Gyatsen Dhargye Chujur Yibe Sonam Gyan Rola Benje Sanje Robarai Let's take a moment and cultivate the altruistic motivation or bodhicitta motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta motivation, we should participate in this discourse called Mind Training Like the Rays of the Sun. I'll read a couple of pages from this Lojong text, mind training text called Mind Training Like the Rays of the Sun, to give you the blessing of a lineage oral transmission called Lung, page 52.
你这个长寿怎么那个没都基本的不少个的这基本的现在基本上那没有长寿，我都这的年了。我的年那个新疆那下着我头先别把我这一模那个下着我这就没把头没呢。新疆用说嘛多为多少基本是都的反正没这个种基本的嘛，对的，也就讲这给你讲这个讲。让多少基本是那你是对的人对的人是对吧？那新疆的那我他妈没问让以为你们不去你那些，让这他们那个现在那些。连就是比如俺个你这边的到个上班也不过年，那么就现在老找不忙都上面就忙都是被拒绝接，就是靠他们那些找我们说那么说的那这年让家老头把烟的泡泡小嘞。大概理解的古些呢，大老的这那兄弟的心情，你的那大概的到马老我们先说，前不是让这的我人不去就或者就别告诉我的那个我那做那个怎么去，这我是不去就不去是。俺个这个可以多嘛？现在这个什么这个小型宝贝，这东西他们那去了。有些娘的啥些没些样，那些的啥给马些我常见没说大概就叫这一下水，差多是爸叫不着，爸叫不着，着连的吧些，你说多么那么。上到东松都的种，谁不当家不当，吃不当，吃不当成，也没事吃不成就吃，谁不当吃不要成就没事。把西北天当姐姐这连当连下过了我的这个他这个小老老个大了5个新的娘新的娘的。三天没一个人到了年纪过年上一上学不上年纪的学不对就是了对你们说吧西西别跑到小车到了电脑中的那些的随便别随不公随不有那跑这些吧你第一我就送到送的了电脑就没说通就同的国也国人那里的大嘞里的大拉的我的给没说的人些个不些不些呢，让我的这样让你目前那了给些人不让说动啊，那没得可能你讲的。现在把他拉过的别人那，看了就东不到他把他这别，就是说你们真小我当然得来的呢，讲说吧做了的，上就不就吧，就别看到说啊，这么个说的人的。就了天边，我是天里边，我什么天也别没着吧，前的电的时候，大家小区这边住就了吧，这大概那个高叫这等，这地现在30，大地群众的这个地一色的，看啥？考虑新建里啊的。到别的些年是就什么样头呢？但是就真都是啊，对的，看啥？本的地里头看啥？现在本的现在的计划，上午中部的里边送去，讲的动作上门去嘛，同呢。那些上部了，前几的计划的了，新建一些的强进去，强就行。你要强就一些，强就一些。 친밀 바쳐주 셈 신룩 노아시 응업을 때에 응업을 뭐 다음에 레버성이 장나 돈이 따지면 산지 정대되지 공무원 중앙 돈이 심진지 신라 지지리서 세대 방식 누가 이동에 나버지도 동안 돈이 그것이야지 강지 되래 다디 규제도 필요가 심진 비게 런지와 시고 규제도 가르치면서 소소 비게 내가 강가 심진 되는 식으로 제가 비게 심진 마시니 까지지 어디 깨자면 시 내가 퇴버려 어디 가라서 인 심진 비게 그래서 다시냐면서 심진 집에서 ran 여와 더나 될 지부들 다 공도 일가가 될 신고를 제대로 직대나 아니 신사 동도 여부 땡기지나 아니 신가 가갈 뒤자시니 텔레비 다 신텔에서 뭐 신다 따모다나 뒤집이 따비도 다니 시그라 어디나 시 지불 때네 아니 bil 시리시와 나게 아니 심전티 대화가 심전이 요구여죠 이 뒤주된지 심전 지우시버렸어 나 그냥 비셔버려야 되죠.
Those of you who have mind training like the rays of the sun, Lojong Universal text in front of you, Geshe read from the bottom of page 52 to page 56 to give us the blessing of lineage oral transmission. And now we are back to page actually 53, right on the top. Just to recapitulate, if you will, the key idea that we have been discussing for a while, that is why we must equalize and exchange self for others, Dakshin Nyamche in Tibetan. And there are many reasons, and we explored those reasons. The bottom line is this. Why we must do that? In other words, we should learn to ignore our self-centeredness or selfish interest, and we should care about others and others' well-being. So that kind of attitudinal changes within ourselves we call Dakshin Nyamche, equalize and exchange self for others. Why must we do that? The bottom line is this. That all kinds of, remarkable qualities and happiness that we are seeking are dependent upon sentient beings. So therefore, sentient beings are, very kind to us. And those of us maybe who are seeking good rebirth or fortunate rebirths in the future, or maybe those who are seeking complete liberation from samsara or seeking nirvana for their own sake, or those who are seeking enlightenment or Buddhahood for the sake of all universe, whatever your spiritual goals are that you are seeking, your attainment of those goals is contingent upon the kindness of sentient beings. So therefore, we have to learn to cherish other sentient beings more than the self. The example given here is right on top of page 53. Farmers, who are cultivating fields, because the goal farmers have is to have bumper crop or good harvest, isn't it? And they know that every kind of field that they have is not going to yield or produce bumper crops. But maybe certain section of the land is so fertile, and it really produces, amazing harvest. So now they know the value of that part of the land, and they are going to pay special attention to that, right? They are going to do everything to protect that piece of the land and to do everything so that they will be able to have, great harvest in return, So in the same way, if we realize the value, importance of sentient beings, depending upon them, that we are able to actualize all kinds of spiritual goals that we have, and including real happiness, then we know we must learn to cherish, other sentient beings, and we must learn to kind of ignore or pay, if you will, maybe my first footnote, less attention to self-centeredness or selfish interest. Yes.
The person draw parish, the person parish. Since the Jawala, Saji should have drawn yellow could she take it to Sinja Lamichi to Sabe and there rang me, she so study using the Kaje. Karsa Sanje da Simjin, then Sanje Komodovalia, at the tea saw some head of the Chikpas. Niring do yomar, Sanje the Chikba, Sanja hid of the Simjin da Sanje Chikbaris. Chikba in that, and on the Sanje of the Nava is a Sanje of the died by Tiabashi sugar by your Sanje of the Delijon Tangi Yomarwa.
No.
But it did not yet Simjin the Zolia, the cutting to Mijan at the Karinas. When you cut it, she put it over. In the Sanje the Kadish Jet of share. Simjin Yavata, the Gize Kadesh. Carson. So the Sanje go to a Juted Chikbares. The Sanje, the Simjin Yamgris had the team that Yondeng Yamgris who are Sanje, the Yondeng Yangmara. The Sozo Yasanje and the Tosal, and the Jul Chikbares.
In the middle of page 53, we have two stanzas quoted from Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's A Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life, or Bodhisattva Char Avatar, Junju. And the two stanzas read, I quote, and then I'll translate the explanation given. Therefore, the Mighty One has stated that there are the field of sentient beings and the field of Buddhas. For many who have pleased them have thereby reached perfection. Since the qualities of full awakening are derived from sentient beings and conquerors alike, Buddhas alike, how can we act respectfully towards conquerors or Buddhas and not towards sentient beings? We should not foster such an attitude, unquote. So the Bodhisattva Shantideva is kind of asking that question, very question. And the question is this, that in terms of benefits for us to be able to attain enlightened state or Buddhahood, we need to accumulate merit and wisdom. Yeah? And for that, we understand that enlightened beings are necessary. Okay? In regards to enlightened beings, we accumulate a lot of merit, and that helps us to become enlightened beings. But we also need sentient beings who are equally beneficial and important here, because in relation to them, that we can accumulate merit that is necessary to be a Buddha. So in terms of benefits, Buddhas and sentient beings are just alike or equal. So that being said, how come that we respect so much enlightened beings, Buddhas, and honor them, and we don't do the same thing with sentient beings? So Shantideva is challenging us with this problematic question. Whose attitude is that? When they are equally kind to you, how do you discriminate against sentient beings and don't respect them, but then you are like so respect and devotion to Buddhas? And as Geshe explained, that we must understand in terms of what we say that sentient beings or Buddhas are alike. Of course, in terms of qualities, Buddhas are enlightened beings, sentient beings are not enlightened. So we cannot compare ordinary sentient beings to enlightened beings in terms of qualities. So we're not saying they are alike or equal in that respect. But we said that in order for us, for anybody to be enlightened or to be Buddha, Buddhas and sentient beings are equally beneficial to us. They both are our causes to be enlightened. So if that is equal, in terms of that they both are equal, then how come that we have the attitude of so much devotion and respect to Buddha, especially as Buddhists, like Buddha is everything. We don't want to see any problem in a Buddha fall, right? We respect, we devote, we dedicate, we honor But we don't do the same thing with sentient beings. We don't respect them, the sentient beings. So whose attitude is that? Where does this kind of discriminatory attitude come from? This is what the Shantideva is raising the question here. As Geshe made reference to what is stated in the supplement to the middle way or Madhyamik Avatar by the great Indian master Acharya Chandrakirti, and Geshe quoted lines from his memory, which basically states a similar thing, where it is stated that instead of how should I say, bowing down or saluting enlightened beings or the Buddhas, we should learn to salute and bow down to bodhisattvas. Okay? Why? Because bodhisattvas will become Buddhas, isn't it? There are no Buddhas without bodhisattvas. Buddhas are in other words the outcome of bodhisattvas. The example given in that text is instead of kind of admiring and paying salutation to the full moon, we should learn to kind of appreciate the waxing moon, the crescent moon, because that waxing moon, it gradually becomes full moon, isn't it? So it is a cause, that brings that result, the full moon. So when we look from the resultant point of view, we understand the importance of the essential causes to achieve that result. So therefore, bodhisattvas are very, important in that, first you become bodhisattvas and then you can become Buddhas, And in that way, we understand that bodhisattvas are almost like causes of becoming an enlightened being or Buddha. So in the same way, that if Buddhas and sentient beings are equally be an enlightened being. So as Geshe said, these are very rational-based logical thinking, isn't it? We don't require anybody to believe with a blind faith, like, oh, this is what it is. Just take it or leave it. No, this is a reason, right? Anything that can help us to become a Buddha is such a valuable and important cause. If that's the contention or our claim or the thesis, then if we said, why do we respect Buddha? Because Buddha guide us. They lead us to the enlightened state. Buddha is our cause for become enlightened. Well, it's the same. Sentient beings are kind to us so that we can become Buddhas because of sentient beings. Without them, we cannot be Buddhas. So therefore, why don't we learn to respect, sentient beings? No.
Kausung be that news you got partena tea, Karsa, Longa Yomars.
No, so.
The news you get said, Delemiki Pia Marva.
No.
Saji Commerce, they did the was on the tea, that called Nimia Mera.
No.
She's the Kasip in the Kausung Gagafu, did not on the tea. Big Italian to so much, you know.
No, so.
Sanji should say she is Simjana La Yuvena. There's a tag, Shartse, Simji ribbon yours. So the Judith is, and the big Sanji Sasha, that big Karsa. The Chidan, you want to tell the team Karsa, comes to us, that Chidan sending to no Lungju Pua or Tiggle in a Simji Ranlia tea, Shesha, Katisha, Sheda tea in the Simji Linji, Petsa, Shobosiada, or the Shigo.
Nice.
They got the Susan Jew Sanji Command, they go, Sanji Command, Sanji the Simji, Litin Yongwa. That Sanji Simji, that Tobot was the Yaya sort of shot. That chick, you got made the hour. Just a good yard of Jew Simji there.
No. At the bottom of page 53, we have two more stanzas quoted from the same text, A Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva. And Geshe-la's explanation on those two stanzas is this, that, so to speak, in a general, when someone is kind to us in terms of, helping us to gain certain knowledge or quality, what we appreciate that person's kindness, isn't it? But that is a very limited knowledge or quality, or that somebody is very kind to us through material gifts, resources. We very much appreciate and are very grateful to such individuals, isn't it? But those helps are, very limited, only, to this lifetime. Whereas the qualities that we can gain, depending upon sentient beings, are just incredible, because these will finally help us to achieve the incredible qualities of enlightened beings, isn't it? So it's not just a limited knowledge or a quality, but as a matter of fact, all the qualities of enlightenment, that we could actualize are contingent upon sentient beings' kindness. So in light of that, right now we can see how valuable sentient beings are to us, How can we ever pay the kindness of the sentient beings? We cannot. Even if we fill the whole three world systems with all kinds of resources, even that offering is going to fall short. It's not going to be adequate thank you offering to sentient beings. Because based upon sentient beings, we can achieve our ultimate goal. That is, we all want to be enlightened being or Buddha. And we could only become Buddha if we learn to respect and accumulate merit in relation to Buddhas and sentient beings. So Buddhas and sentient beings are paired up together, right? We need both to be enlightened, but somehow we learn to respect and appreciate one side of the pair, Buddhas, but then we have not really paid respect that's due to the other side of the pair, sentient beings. So if we don't learn to respect sentient beings and appreciate their kindness, there is no way us for to become an enlightened being, because they both are equally important causes for us to accumulate merit and to become Buddhas.
Sinji Yawata, Gobata, Juan, Sonde, Shawju Simbele, Jigde de Dong and Doye, Dodem, Jibute, Simzilan, Pembata, Nevalin, Shuanji, Sinjete, Sanji, Kovalame, Yi Jurna, Sada Me Lungju Kang, Sanda on the Chawata, Jigde, Denta, Simjin Pembazanshi, Majapa, Dosum der Gayang Meva, Sajiyo. Simye Tundo Yida, to Dungan number Tumungu, Simde Nanji, Noakang, then the Simjin early show. Jagum 편주 되고 당 세와의 동행이 도바까지 세메디 신전대빈 지부 시송소스 다디 이제 걸사 당기다 에네 시진이 때 가지 그다 심전이야 자셔버 시진이 배용을 신의 가지고 유전이 다 니네 배용다 에네 마시디 니민인가 이제와 심전이야 배버시니 야보신 롤 심전자와시나 에네 사지고 공원이 도추고리스 에네 심전 여와도서나 에네 되게 산지고 뭐 저한테 파세들 네마다 에네 그게 기본면 10만년 소문부터면 저하고 드지시오리 세다 남가 좀 시드산다 되게 심지어 여와토와다 심지어 집어서와 되게 거기 접을 때는 그게 배용조 가지 호텔 삼었다네 근데 소소 간제다 소도 대화도리 누구면도 식과서도 다 지금 대화도도 간제 기 대화주도 심지어 펜스시고 그러와 다 누구도 심지어 대화는 디워티시다 되게 소소 삼었다네 이 케니가 삼었다네 에는 심지어야 집어서는 지금 가지고도 심지어 내바시는 가지고도 뭐 디지야 에네다 심지어 그게 가서 집에 배용시 심지어 여와도 종시 뭐 디지 용다되는 다 지금 가지고도 다 종도 심지어 집어서 배용다 여와도 종이 바 빼면 잡으신 삼고를 쓰고
있어요. We are on page 54, and we have a very large passage quoted from Arya Nagarjuna's commentary on Bodhicitta, or the awakening mind, Chanju Central in Tibetan. As Geshe explained, earlier what we have talked about based upon Bodhisattva Shantideva's work is more or less focused upon the benefits of cherishing sentient beings. Why sentient beings matters, in our spiritual life. If we want to be Buddhas, right, we need both Buddhas and sentient beings. And so there are a lot of benefits if we learn to respect, honor, and relate properly to sentient beings, because that will bring us to the state of enlightenment. Now, in Nagarjuna's commentary, what we find are the reflection on both the benefits of cherishing others and the faults of cherishing self or neglecting other sentient beings. Okay? And so in other words, in Nagarjuna's work, we find alternating between what are the benefits of respecting, cherishing sentient beings, and what are the downfalls or what are we going to lose if we ignore and continue to ignore and disregard sentient beings. Yeah. And as Geshe explained, that the bottom line of cherishing sentient beings, why this matters, and it is really essential for us, is without that kind of cherishing attitude of sentient beings, we can never become an enlightened being or Buddhahood. Because that's our ultimate goal, isn't it? Yeah. So sentient being really matters in that sense. Now let's flip it and look at the other side that, okay, what if I don't, really cherish sentient beings? I'll just do as I have been always doing, disregard them. Well, all kinds of unwanted problems are the outcomes or the results of disregarding sentient beings. We, how should I say, could, face a lot of health issues and problems. Not being able to fulfill our expectations in everyday life. All of those are something to do with disregarding sentient beings. And also, being reborn in the unfortunate states of rebirth, bad migrations, that is outcome of creating a lot of negativities in relation to sentient beings and disregarding them, So the choice is ours to make right now. We are given these two choices. And with all the reasons why, how should we make an informed decision here? Right? One side is sentient beings are valuable, they matter. By learning to cherish them, we will be able to achieve good rebirth, we will be able to achieve liberation from samsara, we will be able to achieve enlightened state. On the other hand, if we disregard sentient beings and we only cherish self over others, then we might run into all kinds of difficulties and problems in this lifetime, including health issues. And then in our next life, we could be reborn into unfortunate states of rebirth. Okay? So we could experience more unwanted problems, which one we would like to choose? We all, self and others, are same in that we want happiness, we don't want suffering anymore, isn't it? But the happiness doesn't come on its own. We must create the necessary causes, and conditions for happiness. So cherishing other sentient beings is an essential cause to be happy, to be enlightened, isn't it? We don't want suffering, but suffering doesn't stop because we don't like it. If we keep on creating the causes of the suffering will befall us, So cherishing self at the expense of others is a wrong attitude, and it brings so many unwanted problems, So understanding all of these things based upon critical thinking, intelligence, based upon good reasons, now we should make informed decision which way we want to go. And of course, the recommendation here is that now we should learn to disregard the self-centeredness and selfish interest, and we should learn to cherish other sentient beings. That's the right way to go.
Simje paper zamgini, Majapan Rosum there, Gayameva, Saji, Tatimida, Karsa. In the Simjil Den, in the Sanji Komolana Meva. Jubisaji Komoto, Stito Data, in it, because they do the lad meet and say a double. In the Jigde, the way on shot that start, Pelto short of Samba, the own boost, high almost a Taposiado, Korean Jide to the lad to Ganga. The Simjan paper some shungres.
No, sir.
Maraban and Rosum there, Gaya Meva, Saji, or that cousin, Dodina, Nazoka had be the Washi of Zuganga, and the Simjan then Shunga, Simjan, Pembaten Shunga, here that is yet, to the Simjan then and Sanji come out today. Top 2, In nega the lad me there was Sangbas Jashin said the Jidel lad Tagasi Koshida, Joshua Marava. To the Ganga in the Simjet and Shungshashi. They start the Sangba to the semi issue, go to Samba Sajamare. Don't you show me you go to Sai Major Mother, Simjet Marava.
No.
Koshida Takojan Dorduna. Jigden, they will call it. You Ganga in the Simjet and you bought soda.
So what we find stated in that long passage quoted from Arya Nagarjuna's commentary on the awakening mind is this, that relying upon or depending upon sentient beings and accumulating positive energy of the merit, we can achieve an enlightened state of Buddhahood, which is the final goal or destination. If that being so, what need is there to say that depending upon sentient beings, we can also achieve all other, if you will, temporary goals, such as if you want to have a good rebirth over and again, as with this precious human life, that is also an outcome of being nice and kind and doing the positive thing in relation to sentient beings. And if you want to be born as a celestial being or Devis and Devtas, that's also an outcome of being nice and kind and doing the positive thing in relation to sentient beings, Now, even if you want to be like very powerful, mundane divine beings such as Brahma and Indra and Vishnu, right? These are considered very powerful gods with a little g and s at the end, gods. Well, these are also the outcome of being nice and kind to sentient beings, And but we know these are all temporary outcomes. For example, to be born as a Brahma, if you cultivate the four immeasurables, one outcome is that you could potentially be reborn as a Brahma, for the time being. So the bottom line is this: all the goodness, peace, happiness, all the goodness, freedom that we are seeking are dependent upon being nice, kind, and accumulating positive action in relation to sentient beings. whether it's in this life or in future lives or all the way to the enlightened stage. So in that regard, sentient beings are very valuable, very kind, very precious, and we should learn to cherish them.
심리 tunjo yeda so dunga namba temeng seje na nywa kang den seje ne le chung zhegum de du de go peju de wa da sai dunga ni do ba ka se me de seje ne bi de bu xie song so sa da di di da seje ne se da gi de seje ne pe pe yong de pe ba de da seje ne ba se bi de la nywa ji da Nami to the Yawayita to the thing is some share, and the Dungan about to make worse. That so the ya, and then Yawa to Satan doing a Sanye, year trying so Dungam and Dawa. So the Dungan number to Nadia to Zero. And the Nuaka, then the season relation, so did Dungan Ganga and Numa Simon never she in Jubilees. The yard is that Jacum painted dig was Jacum's and Yida Cosi that do it in pieces. It painted dig, but the tax ratio was Serva. Serva said not that big Karasagore. Sers do that big said jobs at Kajit Dugzur, she was just say. Dungun Dobaka is same it is, or did that Yida the Tudor Disolia in Dungin Chemo. You measure the end pass Dobakange, Seas Jaminge. Kazil the Lobe Tonra Toranyana, Tanto Tagarana, the door of sort of the day showers. Since you live in Jibu, so what the Yagaga and Sinjil live in Jibu, this also Jimmy came at the Mitimi Gilso did Maris. Yama and the Sinjil never she will do Shata. Conject Otisum, conject that they do bed no loom to the Gigaga, the Simpson Pebble share. That you know the milk you also the.
So also in that long quote from commentary on the awakening by mind by Arya Nagarjuna, what we find there stated, is the faults or the disadvantages of disregarding sentient beings. You find them more towards the end of that quote, whereas Geshe explained that instead of being nice, kind to sentient beings, if we are mean to sentient beings, we hurt sentient beings, right? We abuse them, we belittle them, we look down on them, we treat them badly, then what happens, right? Well, then all the kinds of negative outcomes that we don't want come from that. And the negative outcomes that we experience in this lifetime, we already said, health issues or not being able to succeed in what we want and all of those things, and plus all the bad migrations, being reborn in hells, in the Buddhist, hell descriptions, we have too many hells, if you will, and there are the hot hells and the cold hells, and the sentient beings in the hot hell, they suffer from, intense heat problems. Sentient beings in the cold hell, they suffer from intense, freezing and, cold suffering. And then could be reborn as pretas or hungry ghosts who are famishing for food and drink. So these rebirths are, not without causes and conditions. Things don't happen without causes and conditions. Things don't arise from disagreeable or discordant causes and conditions. So these are the results of hurting sentient beings, abusing sentient beings, and mistreating sentient beings, and disrespecting sentient beings, so therefore we should understand that on the one hand, being nice, kind, and properly relating to sentient beings has so many benefits. All the good outcomes, temporary and long-term in our life, here and hereafter, are because of being nice, kind, and doing the right thing towards sentient beings. And all the problems we don't want in this life, here and hereafter, and many more. How when we are in the bad migrations, we're stuck for eons. Looks like that suffering has no end, It's very, relentless and unending suffering almost. That's also an outcome of, being mean and unkind to sentient beings. So understanding these things let's make the right kind of a choice. We are able to choose. We are not in a bad migration already, so we can make a choice, and we should make the informed choice and the right choice. Yes.
the top of Shora, you told me, Bonza Shora, Simpson, Roton, Nizam, Shito, take what she was shouted about the Simpson Tabji to some time, and Lana maybe shouted to worries.
No.
So the two of those that when you get some to die, or the Indona charge, shall you remember to me? Simpson use of the Rosagin, you chose to the Teta paid the maybe individual Chevana, Teta Gigi Johnny, John Gigi Johnny, Rodon Shai, she done this, or Tini Tabe, Nirangi, and the Simpson Yo Tony, and then you not to top that there, Chora, and then Simpson told there, and they got that Chora shared today's story, and the shows about these. And the same learn my dance, Sanjay, and the same the Zofa, Sanjay Homago, the two was set each in the Koyu Jono to see Jeva Yapoti she dinner. Tinsa Rodosha is that yes, this is that Rodon to launch this in the dinner that 2,000 revenge was over. She done yes, and John didn't show that say the John Gagmarma. Do we have to do this? No. So that there's somebody about time and that. At
the bottom of page 54 and on top of page 55, we have lines quoted from Bodhisattva Shanti. Quoted from I think the Nagarjuna's commentary on the awakening mind. And Geshe-la's explanation on this is that if we do, comparison analysis of, let's say, disregarding sentient beings and cherishing sentient beings, we are going to do a comparing and contrasting between these two ways of thinking. We will find out, the benefits of cherishing others and the limitations of cherishing oneself or ignoring others. And the examples given here are that of, for example, Sharvakas and Pratika Buddhas, right? The hearers and solitary realizers, Nyenrang. Yes, even when they succeed, but their achievement is a very partial achievement. Partial in the sense that they have not achieved everything that is to be achieved, right? The arahats, or those who have attained nirvana, following the paths of Sharvakas and Pratika Buddhas, they have achieved nirvana for their own sake. Okay? And they have abandoned, partial abandonment. Okay? My footnote, they have only abandoned the afflictive emotions, not the imprints of the emotions. That's footnote close. So that's a partial abandonment. They have attained amazing liberation of nirvana, but that's not the end of the story, because nirvana is not the same as enlightenment. So their achievement or realization is also limited. Why? Because these amazing, practitioners, they have not given off self-cherishing attitude. Because their goal was to find nirvana only for themselves, and they did not learn to cherish all other sentient beings, like bodhisattvas. On the other hand, bodhisattvas have universal concern. You know, they want to be Buddha for the sake of everybody. You know, because of that, they know the importance of sentient beings and they cherish sentient beings from the depth of their heart and mind. So due to that, Bodhisattvas, when they become Buddhas, their qualities are infinite, complete. Their abandonments are complete. My second footnote, they are free of both afflictive emotions or kleshas and also the imprints of afflictive emotions, right? Obscuration to knowledge. Yeah? So their abandonment is complete, their realization is complete. Why this big difference? Now if we see it, right, we do the comparison analysis, now which one do you want to choose? Right? Of course we want the better and the best, isn't it? And who wants to go for the limited achievement and limited abandonment? We want the best that is there, right? So that means the best option is to learn to cherish sentient beings and seek enlightenment. So in that kind of a thinking, when we really do this kind of a deep analysis of true things, can we really afford, even for a moment, not to cherish sentient beings? We cannot, because sentient beings are that important for us to achieve our goal. So that's what Arya Nagarjuna is saying.
Papa Shawales, Dal Lady Kushene, Dal Duchi Namshoti, T. Simji Ninduna, Dargeteta Malasam, she is also. What is a shadow? Zuzur did Simjit Yab in the middle of never shall get near Macron's Lesa, he Yelensi Leo Gala, and then Sosolia, and it build never she was taking Lindsay she shed. In the shed out, so never she had the young waters. So that never she had the young Temato Soso Ganmoyad in the direct later and Mega Simon, she never sing a young Morris. Young Morris, so again, Yali, you saw that Ranshin Nigal Sour, shed that this other Karsa couldn't love you, George, you the ship, you think ye. Chiricoado, shed the nation in it. Ronda Simjig, Lekat of Tite shed de Daza, and Quatomama Tatapa doing no layer. They got 3 shores. She took his own to do me, no new Lene round took by in this. Or did I in the corner near where the big Simjig was so that you don't see her modest, so less, Simjig Leshe, in the day, they remove son and it. Thomas Tatapa those days they race. The image you touch short a long combat, surely. Dog lady Gushen, Dal Nisi Namshon de Tea Simjin de Tea Simjin de Dog to the Maldas and shares also, what is that? Surely this will do. Dog lady Gushen is so ya, I think never because I have the lady Yebel tell Tene. And the Simjeti that social never shown race. This show that never Simjeti so never should start, but never Simjeti that corons the end because Divasagrava. The Divasai the Divasai the two side the social to us charges. So again, the other hand, this man, and she does so never show more was. So that the laying about the Simjeti that contract to the Sashi Tession. It is social simulation that contradiction. She gets swap of the social to so charges. But this is what the direction shares was died that my last and the guy never saw a silver, $1.
No.
Simple social simulation, social contradiction, simulation that the question was hard over.
No.
The question was that large silver.
No.
You are Chomara.
No.
So that the Laga used to shares and social shares. So the game was simply to get part of the shots. Take a shot in simulation to do at the Honora. So the game was laying about Simon, simply to get the control of Mora. She thought of the social two shots of Dagaji.
We are on page 55, on the top and in the middle, where you find a stanza quoted from Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So as Geshe explained, relating to what you find in the passage above and in that stanza, if we seriously think, the assumption here is, another footnote is the way Bodhisattvas think, that when sentient beings harm us, if we seriously think about how has this harms befallen us, we cannot blame sentient beings. We have nobody except ourselves to be blamed. Okay? How is this? Is our own afflictive emotions and negative karmic actions that we have accumulated, these somehow prompt sentient beings to react in certain ways. They get upset, they get mad, and then they say the unkind things, and this is what comes to us, isn't it? And so the real causes of the problems we face are not the sentient beings. They are not the troublemakers. But if we think carefully, we are troublemakers for them, actually. Because of whatever wrong things we did in the past life or in this life, that somehow, how should I say, prompts sentient beings to behave in certain ways. And so we experience the harms from sentient beings. But then by harming us, by being a condition to our negative karmas, sentient beings are creating bad karmas, which they have to pay the price, isn't it? So now we make them, actually we are destroying them, that if we have never, theoretically speaking, we have never created any bad karmas, then sentient beings shouldn't be able to harm us at all. There's no reason. Because we did similar things to them before. Some other time, it's almost like a payback time. We got it back. And now we blame them. Actually, we can't blame them. They are, at the most, it's just a condition. The real cause of our problem is our own bad karma that we did sometime, wherever we did it, we have to pay the price, isn't it? So when we think in that way, you see that mindset thinking is so powerful that we learn to say that it's not the sentient beings who should be blamed. As a matter of fact, I feel so bad that because of my shortcomings and wrong karmic actions, sentient beings get upset, they get into negative reactions, and now they create more negative and they have to suffer. If I have behaved properly, if I don't do anything negative, if I have never done any negative, there's no reason why sentient should be upset with me or they should harm me. Are you with me so far? See, this is the mindset of thinking how Bodhisattvas really, they put the blame where the blame is due. Blame our own self-chasing attitude. Blame our own negative karmas and delusions, because these are the real causes of our problems, not the sentient beings. At the most, they are conditioned, external, right? But they have to pay the price for that, for provoking us. So the reason why we have been in samsara since time immemorial, Thongma or beginningless time, until now, it's not because sentient beings kept us in samsara. They have no power. We have been in samsara because of our own afflictive emotions and the negative karmic actions that we accumulate under them. These afflictive emotions and karmas trap us and make us go round and around and round in samsara. Sentient beings cannot keep us in samsara if we don't want to be, right? So we cannot blame sentient beings for our being stuck in samsara and our life is messed up and we go through all the hells in samsara. That is not their problem. As we Americans say, that's our problem. That's your problem or my problem, So just recognize that. And as a matter of fact, we should really feel that, we have become a condition for sentient beings to act negatively, to get upset, to do the negative things. And so we are responsible for their negativities and make them suffer, So the table is turned upside down on us. Don't blame others, blame yourself,
어디서 체벌하지 체벌을 다들 런자티 버시부 최지 거리 휴비 가서 대다고 고나도 너발 더마시비 티버시비 슈 버지 슈 티버시비 슈지 버지시비 온기 실코에 동에 시다디 인소도 슈 슈지 바바 年周等的对面那的叫应日节年的三星，现在那些的那个，那些的那个嘛，写不成绩没修，大概就是下水差动日本么，爸爸说么张连的吧写写，那些同学那么，上那东松那的熊，塞巴的、加巴的、超巴样。长期没学呗，甚至也陈连当连下过，他就去了大了，我大了，我个的些样子上不下的是对不对的？他的甚至里啊呢，咋些不着，说是偏多什么咋些不着，咋些不着，咱甚至用什么是这样我说他咋些不，我听着这，他甚至都拉不的，但你不说是他别个他，听不是不搞去不改这种些呢，确实是的，得了也怕这么我喜欢的是，但这都是这东西一说老说不做，第二点呢，你别看这个其他的因素别，可是啥，没得么不用的第二个下个是现在这说啥，那甚至都别现在个，你。搞了些不认识，那影响结不认识，这是不是？但好像甚至给，说是别学两年些，学一些，一种学个的，现在影响结果要么是吧？那个甚至我的，我这都是压的，你压是这个是，那个这可能还是这个的吧？这领导这就压的个现在影响结果，可能难干是那个的吧？现在都结果，但是他那把些个知道没？那你嘛过那把些的是，他到那把些呢？当然说没得么，考的参加上上，考也那年说没得么用过的山，这些呢也呢，可是甚至影响学习不讲不是，他可是他那些年就说的影响学习不明，那些年就知道呀嘛是吧？影响是东国是吧？影响。
We are towards the bottom of page 55, right below that one stanza from Bodhisattva Shantideva. As Geshe explained, here, really we are, as a matter of fact, in a sense, troublemaker for sentient beings. Yeah? And we condition their negativities. Now, as, we are trying to, let's say, enter the Mahayana path and practice, and maybe sentient beings, those who are creating a lot of obstacles on our way, as a matter of fact, they're creating a lot of negativities, isn't it? And instead of getting upset with them, we really should feel compassion for them. It's so unfortunate. Why do they feel threatened when I'm sincerely trying to follow the Mahayana way? It's really the object of compassion. We should extend compassion, not react negatively and get upset with those who create obstacles on our way. As a matter of fact, they have to pay for their karma, and that's going to be terrible. The consequences of their negativities are going to be terrible, and therefore we really feel for them that, they will have to have unwanted, suffering. And as Geshe was kind of chuckling over this fact, that the way we behave is so opposite to this Bodhisattva's way of thinking, isn't it? For us, like, when somebody cause us trouble or upset, like that, instead of developing compassion, we get upset. We get disturbed. We will react negatively. We really don't feel like that is an object of compassion who is causing a lot of troubles and creating negativities. We get upset, we react negatively. But then we, have this wrong appreciation for the things people do, mundane things, and they succeed. They're like, wow, we have kind of a wrong appreciation there. So here, the mindset is very different, that, sentient beings are not to be blamed for all the things going wrong in our life. As a matter of fact, we are the troublemakers for them. Because of our bad karmas, our afflictive emotions, we prompt them to do more bad karmas, and then they have to pay for those, those karmas. And as we are responsible for making them do the wrong thing, And so learn not to blame them, but take your personal sort of responsibility here. And as Geshe said, for us to train our mind through the equalizing and exchanging self for others. We have to do every possible way to generate strong compassion, great compassion. Without a very strong sense of great compassion or mahakaruna, right, it's very hard to generate bodhicitta.
de tang ye me she ba she be sim je ye tin dang sim je ye tilen dang le ja gong ta ri kyo la ong da la wo ka di che nyam de se sa ba sha dis ne ye ka ne tong le ni ji go ni 샤미지 체벌 뉴질에 되니 스웨시 시 파워시버 저게 될때니 좋은데 뉴지디 스웨 유인베 스바고 스바이나 파워시버 니 디곤도 손라 솜 될때니 좀에 돈도 거기 거는 유테다 산질라 티도 되니게 소 that demon because simje dunge ko to be that ta mi shu chagre de ta jo sho simje dunge nyana da ko nya de ra wa de sin si wa ta in ngan de me mari simje de ge so ma she wa chang shu ma shi ri ke gu se de ma na shi ka di jang ya ra wa si en ta na je ma ma se wa ga de sha sa cha dong so nu ye tong se pa pa shong se si na ti chang shu ma ri she da simje de su su pa se la de Deme Tongxian Zhao Mari So Shita Kari Chambo Res. Kari Chambo is that Simje Dungan Chito Roshi Chagrova. So Deme in that Kora Figurava. So the dog that the Kaju Kidu Karsu tell the Roa Chiaju, so the Katu Gora. But then again, Deorda Shanta Simje the Kesu Mashiva Kati Ma Mashiva the Shas of Tad, the Nushatum, but Kajas Gondu that. Togo Gaga Simje Leon de Zawa did Kadi to the Chibutena. Oh, ten so that take shot that simply doing music, but
what you find at the bottom of page 55 and top of page 56, as Geshe explained, that in every possible way we should explore and find out in what ways sentient beings have been extremely kind to us. So some of the things mentioned in the passage is that when sentient beings have become our mothers, just like the mother of this lifetime, who has sacrificed so much for us, for our happiness, other sentient beings, when they were our mothers, they did the same sacrifice and they provided us the same care and love. Okay? And without mother's kindness, we couldn't survive and we couldn't, become who we are and achieve all the things that we have. Okay? But as we talked about this before, from equalizing and exchanging self with others meditation technical point of view, sentient beings have not only been kind to us when they became our mothers, but other times when they have not been our mothers or father for that matter, they have been very kind to us, right? And I mean, if we look over many lifetimes, we have eaten their meat, we have drunk their blood, we have worn their skins, we have chewed their bones. We have done everything, and without, their kindness and sacrifices, we couldn't have survived at all. So now when we think about in what ways sentient beings, have been kind to us, it's just incredible, and so we should really feel grateful. And, the right way of thinking is, how can we repay their kindness in the best possible way? That's the right attitude. Now, as sentient beings go through troubles and pain and suffering, right, we should not have this attitude like, well, that's them, I have nothing to do with them. Well, if we really could say that, they have nothing to do with us, okay, that may be the matter, but that's not the thing. When we think in terms of many lifetimes in samsara, we have relationships with others, isn't it? And they have been our parents, family members are, I guess I didn't say all those things, but you can say in my footnote, I can list 10,000 things there, right? They have a relationship with us, very important ones, So therefore, it is, right thing for us to feel concerned about their well-being, isn't it? Like as a family member, right, when somebody is in trouble, don't we feel sense of responsibility? Why? Because of that relationship. The same thing, we have same relationship with other sentient beings, and when they suffer, we have the responsibility and we should feel concerned about their suffering. And all the things we succeed in our life, basic necessities of life, food, clothing, shelter, no doubt about that, Name, fame, bank balance, he didn't say that, but all of that, is to do with sentient beings. So therefore, we cannot, say that we have no relationship with sentient beings. Based upon our relationship with sentient beings, we have been successful in all these possible ways. So therefore, we should really think in terms of what can we do to repay their kindness. How can we help to minimize and end their suffering? Close.
This is Kasa Chilean Lenzaco, Tadi Chela, Dalu, Woka, Dalu, Kadi Shenyang, Samba said, make ye got the Tonland to go the Chaming, Sheva the Nuzil, Subashi, Portuship to get television, John the Nuzil, Suba Yim, Subacum, Suba in the Portuship. Ni want to son some television join source, whatever. That got it, that subject to the social cutting, massive, they got massive, they got cutting the deck, so that the cutting chair, so never to so that the out, since the job was in Lambo lawyer of that. Lambo lawyers of 30 charge, that the wish summer she does. So that the design that 30 social pay. Cartages military and the Geshe is the 10 and sure lock out of short she the Chiaja, the Terita, the big same thing, Tonsia, the overdose that comes by Terita, because of cock up the robberies. Some days, a Mexicans now did that, did cock up the sun in the harbor, the Ronald never singing, Nuji to Zolia, and Sevagoyakati, Sukshawa Shavores. The Subat Yabu goes to the Subat 10 and the Jugurus so new to some day shut up to the Subat and Yonshori. And that Suba Yabu again, same jelly, no the boy to some day, but the Suba go to Yamarwa. Sheta, Jimba, sitting in the so that other Suba Subat goes on until 10 and the parties began Yamland to sound with this. This and ended the New Zealand Mexican and the Suba Congress.
Nice. We're on top of page 56, where you find it stated, as Geshe explained, that I'm looking at our present situation, relatively speaking, and we find ourselves in a better situation. We have been very fortunate to have found precious human life or fully endowed human form, Daljor, precious human life with leisures and endowments, Daljor. Okay? And we have been very fortunate to have met qualified spiritual gurus and come under their care and guidance. We have been very fortunate to be able to have access to Dharma discourses. So we are in a much better position, relatively speaking. So when we are in a better position, this is the right moment. We should seize the opportunities, kokap soon, right, to be able to repay the kindness of sentient beings. Okay, and so how can we do that? Is by way of our relationship and how we relate to sentient beings, isn't it? And so when sentient beings, they cause some problems or difficulties, we should cultivate patience. Instead of being reactive and reacting negatively, we should practice forbearance or patience, right, to be able to put up with those things. And so once we have patience, the perfection of patience, if you will, then it's easier to have the perfection of enthusiastic perseverance, Chundu, and perfection of samadhi or concentration, Samden, and perfection of wisdom. Before the perfection of patience, right, we also need the perfection of ethics, right, to be able to discipline ourselves, right, and then the perfection of generosity. So it's in relation to sentient beings that we could really practice the 6 perfections of the paramitas. Yeah? And by way of engaging in the Tonglen practice, the practice of giving and taking, not give and take. In my footnote, we out of how should I say, great compassion, we take all the unwanted pains and suffering from sentient beings, right, to repay the kindness. Out of great love, we give all the goodness and the virtues to sentient beings. So we do that Tonglen practice, the practice of giving and taking, incorporating these 6 perfections, and this is the way to repay the kindness of sentient beings.
Down Zaya Rong, Numuche Yunala, Geshe Phuntsok made the kind nature, the shares of love God is. I did that. Tatung to Dota Rex, this and any time, so the Cordon the dad with the Kadet, the Ganga, the Kadet. The Sanjay, because so the Sanjay, the Sanjay Lakwal, take it of the race, take it, just some tongue is that. King Land, Churchill, Giana, Tibu, or
No.
what team, but then they just shake out some gas.
Yes.
Draw na Zaya Rose, Numuche, you know, sir. But the Susan Numuche, she does the Suzu engaging Shivati Ganga and pay a tour Sato Shumson. And the team with the Dharma is doing some Yomers, it does a race, or just see the so the sun, then this was Swibati. She died, car, you see. Jibatina, what Jibatang is chapter, she live was well. That's Sivaku seems that any source of that she cheered because the children do shadow, she does humor. And 2 days and could along with the pretty couple you know. She lay over a woman, go, you were that you said to 1 year, do what?
No.
She said, this Sivati Gum card is this cigarette. There's a Sanjay Lati, they get that. You Seva has a go with the Shana Gumdina. And the thing, Muvas of Shiva was when you saw what they are. That was big when the control on the Sevas go in, that one it Seva said the river. Was it the Sanjay Lati 10 game? She said, check out with the song gas. Check out, she was down when Zaya, you move, you know, last that control on the. Because I did that contract you did that contract you know that the judge is in the country degree. The Gaga Singa socially and they were lump driver towards Shartse and did that there's that. But the colonel this, so that the color did Sagi to you whom you come about the kilo Kasi in the country, the cockawashina, the one bashim, the wing up dream, Marisha.
We are on page 56, somewhere near the middle part of that. And there's a, quote from a great Geshe Chekaba there. As Geshe explained, that, if we learn to transform adverse factors or conditions into conducive factors, right? Then, we could be under any circumstances, good or bad, we will always find ourselves happy and there is never going to be any problem. We will succeed in our spiritual, development. And the way to think about that is like, that, when others cause us troubles, instead of being reactive, getting upset, all of those things, our usual reaction, if we can appreciate that, here is real opportunity to cultivate patience, right? For me to be able to grow in patience, then your perception changes. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, this person is creating trouble and the troublemakers here. We say, wow, I have this precious opportunity to cultivate patience here, So that will help us to be able to change the adverse conditions into conducive conditions. And as Hila said, that oftentimes really it's easier to practice the generosity of giving, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people who need help, and it's easy to practice. If you said, oh, I have a lot of gifts for anybody, well, they're easy to come to you. You really don't have to make too much advertisements. People love to get the gifts. They're going to come to you. But the patience, oftentimes, the opportunities are very rare. Especially if you behave properly, you are very nice, right? Then who's going to get upset with you? So the chance to practice patience is very less when you behave very properly. So, as Geshe said, maybe the example he uses like a shark is the monk's cell, right? So in your cell, you kind of think about these things, you practice patience, but that's like practicing your mind through imagination, isn't it? But when you're in a real situation where somebody's going to give it a crap, right? And if you lose, you're upset. That means you are really not good in patience, isn't it? In a real situation, when somebody kind of give it a crap and you're still patient, then, right? You are, taking the adverse condition into favorable conditions there. And as great Geshe Chekaba, says here, I quote, whether they are enemies or dear ones, are all the objects of disturbing emotions, seeing everyone as a spiritual friend will bring happiness even when you are alone, unquote. So Geshe-la's explanation on this is, in general, right, the enemies and the friends are both objects of our afflicted emotions. Enemies make us angry, hostility, anger, all of those things. And those are dear ones, they give rise to attachment and all of that. Yeah. But if we learn to change the adverse conditions, objects into favorable conditions, then we will be able to, use these objects to further our spiritual development and experience, right? And we are able to change the situation into something positive. So that's what the Geshe Chekaba was done. So if you can do that, doesn't matter what situation, circumstance you are in, you're always going to have peace and happiness. And we are going to stop there today. I'll mark it page 56 in the middle somewhere. Okay, let's do question answer. Now, oh my Lord, that's a long one. First I'll go to the short one, and that's a long passage to read. There are people with extreme suffering and unusual hardship, like financial crisis and cyberbullying. It is pain of my heart. Are they repaying their negative karma? Kanti shugudu again. That tingsang rowakin misoli that tunge shibuchi yor rowakin. Tingsang that tunge nane ken lega meba the penjo kange da rowakin. And trage kin mi kadung taya da rawatra mashibu kanga labde yor rowakin. Dinde mangbuchi du usa. Dinde tola kange nyang tange rowa. Dige di social ki le ngembe ki the kaso da di debu di pa ta du go ra karchi go re sigu sarake.
Ale ta dunge yung na.
Tamada tangsang kira wage penjo. Rese wan tingsa penjo kange che tinge rabo traje don khardung ra tinge rabo dinde rawage. Ada mangbu du goda dige di social le ki debu rebe di debu di pa ta du go ra kare sigu sarake.
Ta dige pe so the kangen of so some tangen so leg of a sare. That ticket Tata Dungan the Tower shows so till Pickle Hissy give Jana Tadu with this. The better him there with the Chico Salamato is doing your Tadu more.
Geshe-la's answer is this. Now, people who are going through all kinds of hardships, some of the examples given are financial crisis, right? We know that millions of people lost their jobs, right? And the cyberbullying, social media, everybody's stuck, and now they're all kind of, maybe bullying each other or something. At such time, if you are the victims of all these crises and difficulties, if you can think in a positive way, that maybe this could be related to some karmas I created before, and by experience of these things, may I be able to overcome, not overcome in sense, be able to purify my karmas and also extend compassion for them, right? So hope they don't create bad karmas, then maybe it'll help to purify our karma. But if we don't think that way, we simply go through the experience, I don't think it's going to serve much of a purpose. Yeah. Okay, now I'll try to go back to the long passage. Let me read it. Okay, I have to read loud, right? Because people can't hear what I'm reading. Is there a question here? Oh, yeah. At GSTDL, at the teaching, it was once said that there was a group of monks. One monk liked to jump a lot. Another monk was disturbed by his jump. What's that? But Buddha explained to the disturbed monk that he should not be mad because in the previous life, the other monk was a frog. So my question is, similarly, if a person in this life was a great musical artist whose music was done to benefit others and was a great scientist with great love for science, medical research was done to benefit others, like the characteristic of the monk who had liked to jump, Gaden or the next life, with some of the great artistic talent or artistic scientist's great love for the science, both which benefit others to be reflected in the person's next life. Their talents could have been done with the motivation to help others. Our love for Dharma, for the benefit of others carries... Okay, where is the question? Would some of the great artistic talents or the scientist's great love for science, both which benefit others, be reflected in the person's next life? Maybe that's the question. Okay. That the lumbak kang the shares the wagon. That did the tumji shake the didn't answer question. That kind of tonda the dim, but pena can't and Tingsan to Jolly Mikasha, the Jondan Damanda Yorwagin. Kashi Rimutia, Keba, Shetang, Keba, that in the Yorwagin. Jakashi Tiri Tola Keba, and Digeti Dashan Bazolia, Jico Pendor of Yorwagin. As the Dinde Yoba songs are, and Digeti Yawa Shumala Rawagin. Jawashuma, Contishin, Gigawagin. Jawashuma Delia, and then the Kotanda Jondan, the Digeti Yanji Paksa, Castle, Dake, Dig Shugan of Yora Yamaris again.
I'll let the Shugan of Yungo, because I'm under the Shiva Jidi, the Nua Jidi, Jidi doing your did you should get him go.
No, sorry. No. So Geshe-la's short answer to the question is those artists, through the artistic talents, they are benefiting others, or the scientists, through the scientific discovery, invention, benefiting others. So these talents may be reflected in the next life from Buddhist perspective, because when we talk about different types of karmic results. Remember, results corresponding to the past experience and actions. So these could be reflected in their next existence or in their next rebirth. Okay, so with that,
yeah. Yes. I have a couple questions.
Yeah, oh sure, go ahead.
So you talk about Tolin as giving and taking?
Yes.
I thought it was the opposite. It was taking and giving.
Oh, I see. You mean in terms of practice, you mean?
How you described it, I thought it was the opposite.
Oh, I see.
Take and give.
I see. Okay.
Giving and taking.
Okay, I'll ask Geshe. Yeah. Because that's how Tong means give, and Tong is to give, Len is to take, right? So I'll ask Geshe your question. Yeah. I'll ask Geshe, right? Kora this dangi Tonglen the la ruage. Dakota Tonglen Samlo Tangdan the luggage Yorwa, Kussiglia, Tege Shivage, teaching the one. Tonglen Yamlen Chidu on the ruage, Tango Tangore, Tango Language says Yorwa. Kora Sidukalia, Tango Ruage, Sule, and Patango Marves or Canderes or Tonglen Yamle Chidu.
That is Tango to Chudlias. Chudlias are in the Deva Patang.
No.
Tango Chudlian.
To get the land Patango. So in terms of practice, the question is about the Tonglen practice, right? Where I translate it as giving and taking. So in terms of practice, do we first give or do we first take, right? That's the issue. And Geshe-la said, in terms of actual practice, first we will visualize, taking or receiving their problem, suffering, and then once we relieve them of their suffering, we give them the goodness, right? That's the proper way of practicing. Okay? Yeah.
One more question.
Sure.
You talk about being peaceful and happy.
Yes.
According to the 8 worldly dharmas, that's one of the 8 worldly dharmas.
Say it again.
According to the 8 worldly dharmas,
yes.
Happy and unhappy are worldly dharmas.
Oh, I see.
Being happy is just another worldly dharma.
Okay, sure. What I can share is that I get Kazan King Lam to Juba, the nation, and then Kadisha and the social table the Kibu Walawagan. Says that they would give us a thing on the Chugig, Jigden Chugig, Kizamarabasa again. They would give us a Rawagay. They would give us a Jigden Chugig, the Marabe, Kanzo Yamaja, Papaya, the Marabes again. The Kibu Walawagan. On the Kazaking and Buch and Arawagay. So the question that they would give us a this or Jigden Chugig, Papanga, the Marabes again.
다 동네시에도
말말 대부 기부 사이즈 밖에 단단 간주디 가르소고래 단대들 밖에 가서 안조 깽에 넘주 체버로 와 전에다 역도 가려 이내면 소소 시대다 대부 열슬라버 와 기부 라이시어로 밖에 디스디고 디지세 디 직된 초기에 나는 파파인데 말해서 그러게
제도 말이 직된 초기에 나시는 아이는 누자 용들 누구 용 사무동으로 뭐서 질 애는 기본 용하여 말와 더 되게 넣으셔야지 디 깬디게 흉나 됐지 람디게 야고 좀다 이제 펜스서 시간에 껏땡이 왜데 능은 매라시 소소 대화하고
말라 디
소소도 디 대화 용로신의 상상밖에 말와
Geshe says that, being like peaceful, happy, right, that's not part of the 8 worldly concerns. It's not in the 8 worldly concerns, we think about. Here, what we're really doing is that, of course, everybody has a wish for happiness and not wish for suffering. But we do find ourselves in a very difficult, painful situations. At such time, if we can transform the adverse conditions into positive, favorable conditions, then that will bring a certain level of peace and happiness. So that's not a part of 8 worldly concerns. That's what Geshe was
saying. 제가 당고 예 됐어. 진짜 다다 등에서 등에도 다다 봤다 내 지가도 등에나. 근데 이 등에도 소소 냐마 메가리 다도 그랬잖아. 그 등에 용세디 다도 그러와. 당게 당 말을 세지라.
다 시기를 했어.
다도 그러와. 다 디가는 다도 손서바단 엔베 신제셔다 내 나라도 메요셔 다게 디타가 등에 디 영타고 쇼 상한도 상로다나 in the pension which we already
Geshe want to add a little more to his answer to the first question about how people go through difficulty like financial crisis, cyberbullying, things like that. One thing what he said, like if we can think, at least in terms of thinking, that this may be related to our own karmas before, and then we still extend compassion, and we hope that no others have to go through this cyberbullying and financial crisis. Then not only that you will purify your karma, negative karma, but you will be creating positive karma, right, of thinking positive and wishing others to be free of same thing. So that way you're also accumulating merit. So he want to add that to his response. So with that, we will stop there today. And